It's Thursday, and we're live for another Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast. And let me just get right into it. I'm Jamal. You can catch me on the Twitter machine at Giant Crab. On the screen to my left is 2 Chains. What's up, man?
What up, dude?
And joining me also is Hill Will Mahoney.
What's up, guys? Another big night on the Big Gold Belt.
That's right. And this time we have two guests in one. The gifted one, Isaiah Frazier, and his protege, Coach Gator. Guys, how you guys going?
Good. How's everybody else doing?
That's a good time. Good time. Finally got there. Coach, you with us?
Oh, no, this is not happening.
It certainly is happening. It absolutely is happening.
Are we one man down?
I think we might have to go to DEFCON 3. Black Hawk down.
Man down.
We got to get to Coach Gator. Well, look, let's get the ball rolling. Isaiah, like flat out of the gate, you came onto the Nova Pro scene a little while ago. You've definitely been making your name for yourself, and obviously that will culminate with a NWA World Heavyweight Championship match at the next pay-per-view. We are a week away. Not pay-per-view, but the next show, we are a week away. It's part of the Commonwealth Cup weekend now, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I guess first, we saw you, and we've seen you in matches. We've seen you tagged, and you've always, pretty arrogant, but it's still a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now you teamed up with Coach Gator, and I got to ask you, because your reaction was kind of my reaction, is that the hell is this guy doing, and why is he doing it in that sweatshirt and sweatpants?
Yeah.
What was the thing that attracted you to Coach Gator at first, and how has that changed since he first came onto the scene?
Well, I would say the first thing that really attracted me to him was it's just his persistence and how he kept wanting me to be a part of the Gator Pit. Pretty much, he kept coming out there every time, and then would give me pointers after my match, saying, "Hey, you did this, but what if you did this in the match?" And then I would take his advice, and then it started working. So Coach Gator has been a big influence in my Nova Pro career so far.
Now, when you first saw him, come out there, seemingly out of nowhere to end your matches, scouting you out, what were your first thoughts about Coach Gator, quite honestly, lurking around your matches? What did you make of that?
At first, I was like, whose grandfather is this in this sweatsuit? Then as he kept coming out, I'm like, all right, well, let me at least ask his name, at least since he wants to come out during my matches all the time. Let me at least ask his name. And told me his name, and then told me he wanted me to be a part of him and be a part of his Gator Pit. I was like, well, all right, fine. I'll give it a whirl, see what happens.
So persistence paid off with Coach Gator scouting the gifted one.
Yes, sir.
Now, was there any sweetening of the deal in the form of Werther's Originals or the other treats that Coach Gator is known to bring with him when he makes his appearances at Nova Pro?
Don't answer that question.
There's the coach. The legendary Coach Gator joining us here on the Big Gold Belt.
Yes, sir. He did promise me
I had one of my 106 great-great-grandchildren try to help me with this, and there were problems, but we're here.
Well, it's good to know better late than never. So while we have you, Coach, I got to ask you about Isaiah. Again, coming up really out of nowhere, what was the thing, out of everybody in the Nova Pro roster, what drew you to Isaiah Frazier?
It's real easy. When you're out there looking for talent, you don't want someone who's already there, fat and happy. You want someone who's hungry. You want someone who wants to make a mark. You want someone who wants to take things to a whole other level. And I knew when I saw Mr. Frazier for the very first time, he got that win, and I knew he was my guy. Then we had a couple of stumbles, but I still knew he was my guy. Raw, pure, uncut talent right there in the Nova Pro territory. I couldn't have asked for anybody better to have as the leader of the Gator Pit than Mr. Frazier.
Well, it's definitely strong words from from Coach Gator there, and it seems that you do you feel that you took a risk on Isaiah Frazier, knowing how new he was to the Nova Pro scene, or is it just that instinct that you have as a coach to find the diamond in the rough?
You've got to be able to have that instinct. You've got to be able to look at someone and know that they have what it takes to go to the mountaintop. And I've been doing this a long time, a very, very long time. And I talked about this last month in the territory, that they tried to write me out of the history books, like that woman who became Pope, like these countries who have just completely disappeared off the map. They tried to do me like they did Prussia, but I wasn't going to let that happen. And seeing Mr. Frazier and just seeing what he could bring to the table, I knew. And this has been a dream of members of the Gator Pit going all the way back. I remember when one of the most promising members of the Gator Pit, Little Santiago, he got back from WW1, the mustard gas had gotten to him, and he had to retire early. And we've gone through a lot, but we're still here. And coming up, the Nova Pro territory has no idea what to expect as we're taking the 10 pounds of gold and we're holding it and we're not letting go.
Well, I got to ask you, Coach, over the years, and you've been doing this for a long time, as World War II was literally 100 years ago. World War I was literally 100 years ago. You have so many people that have come through the Gator Pit, including Little Santiago. God bless his mustard-eyed soul. How do you stay fresh? I mean, obviously, you're having in 2018, you have a guy that's as gifted like Isaiah Frazier. Do you find that history just repeats itself? Or is it the case that it is something new, something different, and something that you haven't seen before in Isaiah Frazier?
I don't even remember what year it is. As far as I'm concerned, I go back to those days and I party like it's 1959. And I think about what Vern Gagne used to do. And I think about how that no good Luthez would pull everything out of the back of his trunks to get the best of me. And I don't think about what year it is. I think the things that made people good and consistent and happy however many years ago are the same things that are making people good and consistent and happy today. I mean, I remember seeing this young, tall guy, thin, had this kind of crazy looking beard. He was out there wrestling in the farmlands of Illinois. And before you know it, 20 years later, Abraham Lincoln. So like I said, the talent is there. The same kinds of drive and focus is there. Where you're talking about 1840s, or you're talking about 1940s, or you're talking about the year 2525.
Now, let me just say it for the record. Coach Gator is absolutely telling the truth. Abraham Lincoln was a wrestler in high school, secondary school in Illinois before he became to be a lawyer, and he's pretty damn good at it. I think he's either undefeated or lost one match. So,
well, who do you think he took that one loss to? Come on.
Oh,
I mean, if you've seen, do you get royalties from Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter? I mean, I think that's something that should be a check should be in the mail from that, because you played such a seminal role in his.
Like so many things, they've ripped me off. They've written me out of history. They tried to put me in the shadows, but through perseverance and my consistent worshiping of the god Imhotep, I'm still here, and I'm looking to continue to make a name for myself, for Mr. Frazier, and for all future members of the Gator Pit.
Okay, Coach.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Coach, you've mentioned Thez. You've mentioned Gagne. We're talking the AWA. We're talking the NWA. I'm assuming there's been some run-ins with promoters over the years. Now, some people you must have run afoul to be pushed aside like this. Is it in Isaiah Frazier's best interest then to be paired up with such a rabble-rouser who apparently has a long history of ruffling feathers across the country?
Well, I'll say this. The guy right now who's the big-time promoter of the NWA, I know him very well. We've done our share of Smashing Pumpkins at Halloween. We go to the same barber. I know him, and I know that he sees what I see in Mr. Frazier. They can have this guy, Nick Aldis, go to Europe, and they can have him talking to whoever they want, and they can be making plans to do whatever they want in Chicago or anywhere else. But I know that Mr. Frazier is going to take this title, and then once we have that title, no promoter is going to be able to get the best of us. No whippersnapper is going to be able to take that 10 pounds of gold from us by hook or by crook.
Well, let me ask you this, Isaiah. You have Coach Gator here with seemingly 5,000 years of wrestling history and training ability, and he's giving you that knowledge. Now, he's obviously priming you for the spotlight, and the simple question is, are you ready for it? Do you feel that you can handle it? And I think you're going to say yes. Realistically, what's after this match in a week with Nick Aldis, win or lose, how are you going to lay it all out on the line, and what would you consider a success if you don't win? What can you take from this match if you don't win?
That this is a great learning experience. That Nick Aldis, he's been wrestling for I don't know how many years. He's a great wrestling mind. Funny little story, a while back when I first started wrestling, he did a seminar, and he was one of my first seminars that I've done. And it's just so much stuff that he taught me, and him and Sanjay both were running it at the time. So he was just teaching us in-ring etiquette and everything. And so what I will take away from this is that this is a big opportunity for myself. And then I have nobody to thank but Nova Pro and Gator and everybody for getting me ready for this. So what I will take away from this also is that I'm giving it all that, and Nick goes, you better be ready, because I'm coming, and I'm hungry, just like Gator said. I'm hungry and I'm ready to go.
So and I agree. You're hungry. You're ready to go. It's definitely going to be an interesting match. NWA World Heavyweight Championship on the line a week from Saturday at the Nova Pro's Commonwealth Cup festivities. Now, a major, match, arguably the biggest match in your career. Coach Gator, you've been there before because you've managed them all. Literally Abraham Lincoln. How do you prepare, Isaiah, for a match like this? Is there any special training that's different from your day to day? Are you having him swimming with the salmon? Is he out there wrestling grizzly bears, or did he throw himself over Niagara Falls? What are you doing differently to prepare for this match than any other?
I think the question is, how do you capitalize off of the already initial training in the videos that you've already put out? I mean, there's got to be a lot of other tricks left in the sleeve, and knowing a really sound mind as yourself, and you're trying to get your protege and Isaiah Frazier prepared. I know we're not getting everything that's happening behind the doors of the Gator Picks just on YouTube. So what other preparations could you hint at that's going to take us into next week?
Well, I can't go into everything, but I'm going to say this. Earlier this morning, a courier brought me about 7 or 8 reels of Nick Aldis, and I've been in the basement looking at every single move he does, looking at every single counter he does. And in the next week, Mr. Frazier is going to be working on those weaknesses, on finding the spots. When you hold the 10 pounds of gold, you're number one. But everyone outside of the Gator Pit has weaknesses that can be exploited. And we're going to take that footage and we're going to exploit those weaknesses.
Now, while you've been doing your tape study, Coach, and preparing for Nick Aldis, it is notable to say that in the last week or so, it seems as though Nick Aldis has been distracted possibly by what's coming up for him with Cody Rhodes possibly at All In. He seems to have his focus elsewhere, which is probably of great interest to yourself and Isaiah Frazier while you're preparing, because do you think it could be said that Nick Aldis is overlooking the gifted one on his way to All In and not thinking as much as he should be about the Commonwealth Cup next weekend, June 9th in Annandale, Virginia?
Absolutely. You say a very intelligent thing, Heel Will. You're 100% right. He's out there talking to people in London. He's out there making plans for Chicago. I worked Chicago. I worked Wrigley Field. 57,000 people saw me beat Baron Leone. I know what it's like, but he's not going to Chicago with the 10 pounds of gold because Mr. Frazier and I are going to Chicago with the 10 pounds of gold. We're going to be at Lou Malnati's. We're going to be at the Wiener Circle. We're going to be all over Wrigley Field with that title belt. So you're 100% right. He's thinking so many steps ahead that he's going backwards. And all it takes is for him to make one little mistake, take someone for granted for 3 seconds at the end of a 59-minute and 47-second match. It just takes him to slip up for 3 seconds, and we're going to take that NWA World Heavyweight title. He better get his mind in the game because nothing is promised to anyone, especially not someone that has that kind of bullseye on their back.
Wow. I mean, but the honest to God truth is that, you know, Nick has already penciled himself in for Chicago in September for All In. He's clearly overlooking Isaiah Frazier. Do you think that Isaiah, you know, has, with all the tools and everything that you've given him, can he pull off the miracle of miracles, bigger than when the Cubs won, you know, the World Series a couple of years ago, you know, bigger than this would be the biggest sports upset of all time. Can Isaiah handle the pressure, in your opinion, Coach Gator?
I have to add my 10 cents into this real quick too. Virginia happens to be the land of upsets, as we've seen that in the NCAA tournament, a number one was completely dethroned of the state of Virginia. So if any place is going to happen, this is it. And I think that Isaiah Frazier, with a man of few words, a very humble guy, we've seen the character change over the progression of Nova Pro shows. I think he poses a dangerous threat that even none of us may be prepared for. But to Gator, your thoughts on this?
I mean, you guys want to talk about it as a miracle or a big upset. I don't see it like that at all. Two very talented, very prepared men are going to enter the squared circle. One of them is going to leave with the NWA World Heavyweight title, and that man is the head of the Gator Pit, Mr. Frazier. I don't see it as a miracle, and I don't see it as an upset for him to get the best of Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis is a worthy adversary, and he's a worthy holder of the 10 pounds of gold. But that's today, and that's yesterday. And as I said a few weeks ago, it's time to move forward. And moving forward means that Mr. Frazier is bringing that 10 pounds of gold home. He's going to work directly out of the Nova Pro territory, but he will be defending that title all over the world. It will be a true world title. We're going everywhere. We're going to El Jobim, Florida. We're going to Bellevue, Nebraska. Anywhere that wants us, anybody who thinks they can take that belt from Mr. Frazier after he defeats Mr. Aldis, we'll be waiting. We'll be hitting the road.
I can't wait to see you pop up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho as well. You know, that's another great wrestling town. Now, Isaiah, you know, we've been talking about you and this match here coming up at the Commonwealth Cup on June 9th, but part of the Commonwealth Cup weekend that starts June 8th. You're in, you know, this massive match, and it's an unprecedented thing, and that's why it seems to be an upset. I don't want to belittle or make light of the fact that you're in this position. You're in this position because you obviously deserve it. But this has got to be the longest week of your life, though, right? You know, the pressure coming into this match, you know, knowing that you're a week away, knowing that it only takes 3 seconds to do the job, get the belt and roll out to beautiful Bellevue, Washington, or or Dearborn, Michigan, or wherever Coach Gator has you on the Chitlin circuit. With that said, how are you maintaining calm or some sense of normalcy in a week like this as you prepare for your match with Nick Aldis next weekend?
Kind of just trying to keep a level head about this, because just like you said, this is a big match coming up, and then just trying to stay calm. And I talked to my mom a lot about this, and she says, you've been doing this for a long time, you know what you're doing. It's just another dude, but I told like it's not just another. This is the NWA World Title that we're talking about here. So just talking to a lot of people and just getting their inputs on it and having them just that reassurance sometimes does help. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you know, with a win that would put you in the history books, what the oldest World Heavyweight Championship in the sport. You, Pat O'Connor, Buddy Rogers, Dory Funk Jr. Your name would be on that list of NWA World Heavyweight Champions, and you would have honestly Coach Gator the thing. So it's gotta be eating at you somehow. Is it just a matter of you want to just get it over with? Or do you have a game plan that's going to take you through the next week to the Commonwealth Cup in Annandale?
I would say my game plan is just how I would say Gator's been doing it, just watching film and then just being eager. I'm very eager to get here and get there and do it. I don't want to get it over with because when it gets there, I'm going to want the moment to sit there and settle in. It's like, all right, this is real right now. This is real. So, yeah, I'm eager. But then I'm also nervous also. Eager and very nervous.
Well, let's speak optimistically right now. And, you know, I'm not a superstitious person. I don't believe in you know, jinx or any, you know, voodoo, juju like that. So let's just say when you win, because Coach Gator believes it. And honestly, he sold me on it and I believe it. When you win, what's the first thing you do as NWA World Heavyweight Champion?
Get ready to fly to Chicago.
Uh-oh. So we should take that as confirmation that if Isaiah Frazier wins the NWA World Heavyweight title, you and the coach are all in.
Yes, sir.
We got to make sure the money is right first, though.
Ever the businessman, Coach Gator. I like that.
I have to add now, I know, and for others who may not know, you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan. No one doubted. No one believed in them to even come out that division in the beginning of the last season. And a couple of months later, Philadelphia Eagles are your Super Bowl champs. Even going into the Super Bowl, no one gave them a chance. I mean, they went against the almighty Tom Brady, who can do no wrong in society's eyes, as it may be. And another and a player on the Philadelphia Eagles, Lane Johnson, has came out with books and seminars and stuff about what does it mean to breed success and stuff like that. Considering that's your team, those are your players. A lot of those guys are humble. I mean, it was nothing but a team effort completely. Do you look over? I mean, number one, upon the victory, do you find yourself celebrating in Philly for one? Trusting the process is a big thing there.
Of course, I'm going up.
Go ahead.
I'm going up right where Rocky was filmed. I'm running up them steps and I'm standing at the top of the steps saying, "Philadelphia, I did
it." Fly Eagles fly. Is it a sense of motivation as well too, seeing that a team that you've been associated with for a long time, you've seen them in struggles, you've seen them with way better rosters on paper over the years, to actually getting it done as a team effort this year? Do you look at that organization now as another sense of motivation going into this big match?
Absolutely, because everybody wrote them off at the beginning of the season, just like I know there are some people writing me off at this match saying, oh, well, he's too young and Nick Aldis is a world champion. He's 10 times bigger than him. He's 6-something, 200-something pounds. I'm 6 foot, 195 pounds. So I know there's people out there writing me off, but I just can't wait to prove them wrong come June 9th.
I mean, think about this. You just being in the record books, but your name also being embedded into the steps of Philadelphia, along with other standouts this year. I mean, Meek Mills is a legend right now coming from Philly. The trust in the process, Joel Embiid and the boys are doing their thing. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, your name will be right up there with that, considering even, with a win, absolutely, but even being in this situation alone makes you an icon for the city.
Yeah.
True, but it's not enough to just say that you get there. You got to get it. you got to do it. You got to win it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're definitely rooting for you as you go in next weekend. Commonwealth Cup tickets are still available, and you can get that at novaprowrestling.tumblr.com. It's in Annandale, Virginia, at the volunteer fire department. But all 3 shows are available. It's the entire weekend, but you definitely want to be there for Nick Aldis versus the gifted one, Isaiah Frazier. Being the gifted one, and his coach has obviously seen that you had some gifts in advance. Coach, are there any other new recruits to the Gator Pit? Anybody on the rise that we should be looking out for?
Let me say this: in the next few months, there's going to be new members of the Gator Pit. As Mr. Frazier is taking the reins and is going to be defending that 10 pounds of gold, we need to give him the right support system. We need to give him a group that he can lead as I mentor and advise. And there are people out there who there are names that you have seen. They are people who have wrestled in Annandale, Virginia, and Burke, Virginia, and other places, people that you would recognize that are going to be members of the Gator Pit. You don't know it, and they don't know it, but I know it. So in the coming months, to all the people in the Nova Pro territory, to all the people in the Crab territory, look out, because there's going to be some shining faces joining Mr. Frazier coming up.
Now that raises an interesting question. Given that Isaiah Frazier is getting the opportunity of all the wrestlers at Nova Pro, he's getting the opportunity at Nick Aldis's NWA World Heavyweight title. Win or lose, that has absolutely put a spotlight on him at Nova suddenly. So that has to have gotten people's attention. So whether he wins the title or whether he doesn't win the title, once this match is done, his future at Nova Pro, I think he's got to have a target on his back now. Who are you looking forward to wrestling on the Nova Pro roster after this, possibly as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion?
I kind of have quite a list for that. Can I keep it?
We've seen some lists work out in the past.
Can I keep to my top 5?
Do it.
Sure.
Hey, knock it out.
So I definitely have to say number 1 has to be Jonathan Gresham for one.
Oh yeah.
That's one. Say number 2 has to be Logan Easton LaRue. That's another one. Eric Royal, Fred Yehai. Who else can I get? Who else? And Bobby Shields.
Okay.
What a list. What a list.
Interesting that the first person on the list, Jonathan Gresham, could be your next Powerbomb TV heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 on your list is your 2017 Commonwealth Cup champion, who could actually do it again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you had a fad with just going for gold here. And
I mean, I like to aim high. I like to push my limits, and I like to see what I can do. And so with this match coming up here, that'll definitely push my limits. And I feel like those 5 guys, those are top guys in Nova Pro. So I feel like those guys can push my limits also.
Interesting. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, working with Gator absolutely gives you the opportunity to go and be in any territory. Is there any other markets that is absolutely of attraction right now?
I kind of want to start going down south more, because I've been in northern parts wrestling, but never really been down south wrestling, like Tennessee, Atlanta, Florida areas. I want to just get out as much as possible and wrestle as many places as possible.
It's a hot tournament coming up in Tennessee soon.
Oh yeah, I heard Papa Hales usually runs that one, doesn't he?
His son Dylan Hayes runs it, but all the last still in the family. I'm sure they're doing I forget what the correct term for it, but they're doing like a little showcase, triple threat showcase for more interest for it. So that might, I'm sure Gator might be able to work something out for there.
You hear that, Gator? Let's get on that one.
Go ahead with your what you going to say, Will?
Yeah, now I noticed in the list you ran down, you mentioned both Logan Easton LaRue and Bobby Shields. So that's 2 members of the gated community. So that immediately raised some eyebrows since they've been such, the big force at Nova Pro. Going up against the gated community usually means that you do need to have some people watching your back. And Coach Gator had already mentioned the notion of adding more people to the Gator pit, and he may have some eyes on some people. Do you have your eyes on anybody that you might want as part of the Gator pit or to be watching your back, especially if you're considering going up against the gated community?
Yeah, Big Beef is one. Mecha Mercenary.
Okay.
That I want to say that Max villain. I don't know who he is, but he looks like a character. So I was like, well, I'll take as many bright people as I can get, and as many big guys as I can get.
No, that sounds good. But I hope that obviously getting down to Tennessee is a must. A lot of big things going on down there, especially in August. Seeing the country is a must. But as the NWA World Champion, thinking globally now, is there any territory that you're going to kick the door in, sooner than later?
I kind of want to say CZW. That's the main one that I've been wanting to get on, and
okay. I mean, I was thinking more, globally instead of Southern New Jersey, but yeah, CZW is cool. But I mean, I need to see you in progress. I need to see you in WXW in Germany, MCW in Melbourne, Australia. This is the Isaiah Frazier Worldwide NWA Heavyweight Championship Tour, 2018 till forever.
Well, yeah, I mean, WXW, that's definitely one because I watched one match with them. It was, what was his name? Aleister Black now. He first start there. I watched them in World of Sports, I think that is. I think them two, those are like the main two for right now that I know of. Let me do a little bit more digging on overseas ones. And I'll definitely.
Well, I guarantee that as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the challengers will come to you. Coach Gator, let me ask you, since, let's just say that Isaiah does win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, how do you manage his newfound stardom? I presume that it's, shouldn't be that much more of an adjustment. Well, who do you deem worthy enough to get a shot at the belt? How does that go down?
Well, I think you're going to have to look at some of the other people out there who declare themselves world champions. I think it's important to really put it out there that there should really only be one world champion. And when Mr. Frazier has the 10 pounds of gold, as far as I'm concerned, as far as it's concerned, in most of the territories that I have any respect for, they'll recognize him as the world champion. Other territories, other places that have their own title holders, they are welcome to come to this territory. And of course, we will be traveling all over the country and all over the world. So anyone who has gold that they think makes them the person at the top of the mountain in their little part of the world, we're going to come in and we're going to show them it's Mr. Frazier's world and that all these other territorial title holders are living in it.
Well said. So again, next Friday, Saturday, the Commonwealth Cup 2018 edition. It's a 3-show, 2-day extravaganza. The Commonwealth Cup is a deal unto itself, and we will talk about that later at another episode. But right now, it's all about the gifted one, Isaiah Frazier, and he goes on to take Nick Aldis and the NWA Championship from him. Per Coach Gator's tutelage, it could happen. Coach Gator believes it could happen, and it would happen next Saturday night in Annandale. So, Coach, I just got to ask you. I know that we want Isaiah to win. This is the Isaiah Frazier podcast now. But what happens? How do you bounce back if he doesn't pull it off?
Well, I'll say this. in the history of this great sport, of the many, many, many years, no one goes through a career without, unfortunately, a defeat. As long as Mr. Frazier puts his best feet forward, as long as he gives everything I know he can, and he puts everything that I know he has in him into this. And if Mr. Aldis is able to find that 3 seconds and able to take advantage of a situation, and we're on the short end of the stick on Saturday, June 9th in Annandale, Virginia for the Nova Pro territory, then we will continue to move forward. We will continue to have our heads held high, because everybody will know that Mr. Frazier is the biggest star in this part of the world. And as our friend Will said earlier, he will have a target on his back here. And as far as I'm concerned, no matter what happens, he is the leader of the Gator Pit, and we are going to move forward, and the world will be hot dog sandwiches.
I would like so Isaiah, before we wrap up the show today, what message do you have for the fans who's doubting you, or Mr. Nick Aldis himself, as we move forward into next week?
Repeat that one more time.
I said, as we get ready, before we wrap up for the show, what message do you have for the fans who may be doubting you, and for Mr. Nick Aldis himself, as we move forward into next week?
You just gotta stay tuned and watch, because they may be calling me the underdog and everything, just like the Eagles were. They were the underdogs in the Super Bowl. He just has to know I'm coming, and I'm coming with everything I got, with everything that Gator taught me, every film I've been watching on him. He just knows I'm coming. And then for all the haters, I mean, it is what it is, because you will have your people out there that, oh, well, he's not good enough than him. He's not better than Nick Aldis. Well, hey, June 9th, I prove just how good I am.
No doubt. Look, you're going to have the home field advantage here. It'll be live at Nova Pro. You will have the support of fellow Crab Academy, people who's been seeing you develop over the years at Nova Pro, and everyone who loves the underdog story will definitely be rooting for you. And you have your fellow Eagles fans, because a lot of those apparently just came out of nowhere after the championship. Yeah. But again, this is a classic case of the trust in the process. I mean, I've seen you. We've seen you at shows, from sometimes just helping putting up the ring, to pre-show matches, to being on the card, tag matches, to going after one of the most prestigious titles in all of wrestling. So if anyone who can't get behind that, I mean, I just don't know what to say. But we're definitely rooting for you. And
I appreciate it.
After that, all roads lead to Chicago, man. And there may be more gold at stake on that note, you know?
Oh yeah. I've been looking forward to. Definitely looking forward to it.
No doubt. So before we get out here, Will or Jamal, anything to add before we roll out? Questions or anything?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. It's one last time. It's the Commonwealth Cup. It's next weekend. The Annandale Volunteer Fire Department, June 8th and 9th. You can get tickets from Nova Pro Wrestling at VA Wrestling on the Twitter machine for all your Nova Pro news. But just good luck to both you and to Coach Gator. You know, we obviously wish you the best. We will be there, cheering you guys on as the big bad wolf comes into town, and all you gotta do is just take the belt from him.
As a great NWA World Heavyweight Champion of the past would say many a time, to be the man, you have to beat the man. So Isaiah Frazier and Coach, we send you off into this final week with that message. Keep that in mind. Keep that close to your heart. To be the man, you have to beat the man. And on Saturday, June 9th, you very well could become the man and become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion during the Nova Pro Commonwealth Cup in Annandale, Virginia.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate all of y'all for having us on here too, man. So this was fun, and then I definitely want to do it again sometime.
No doubt. We definitely will have an eye as your career is definitely taking off, and You know, this is your home. As long as, you know, we look forward to celebrating with you afterwards too. So, you know, you let us know the date, and we'll talk about nothing for the next hour of just celebration that we got to do it. You know.
All right.
Gator, anything for you to add, buddy?
Thank you very much. This technology, I don't understand how all this works, but it was a pleasure to thank you, Mr. Frazier. It was a pleasure to speak with everybody, and there are some tickets still available. Commonwealth Cup weekend is going to be very interesting. I'm going to have my pen and paper out. I'm going to be seeing a lot of interesting talent coming in. But number one, June 9th, in the main show of the weekend, Nick Aldis is bringing the 10 pounds of gold, but he's not leaving with the 10 pounds of gold. And that night, we're going to be partying all up and down Annandale. They tell me there's something called karaoke that's going to be happening. I don't know what that means, but things will be going on. And as I said earlier, the world will be hot dog sandwiches.
Yeah, hot dog sandwiches. Yes.
Actually, before we get out of here, I actually got a DM. Actually, this is interesting. Oh, and in breaking news, actually, Nick Aldis is going to address this match and this proclaim of you guys taking his 10 pounds of gold come Monday. Actually,
I look forward to hearing what he has to say.
That's happening this Monday. Nick Aldis is going to join the Big Gold Belt podcast, and he's going to explain why he's all in and you're not. So
I look forward to hearing it.
Whoa, that's big news dropping there. Woo. Jamal, let's wrap this one up, man.
Well, before we get out of here, Isaiah, Coach, if you could give us your social media and everything that people want to find you, the fans, the haters, and everyone in between. Just go ahead and give yourself a little plug, Isaiah.
So you can follow me on Twitter at GiftedIf. Simple as that. And on Instagram, it's Isaiah_Frazier PF.
Now, Coach, I couldn't imagine you have social media because, you know, they didn't do that back then, right? You just go to the Stop Hop and.
Amazingly enough, from this, one of my great grandkids gave me this phone that has no wires with it, and I have to flip it open. It's like a hamburger sandwich. You have to flip it open. But amazingly, I do this thing with the birds, this Twitter thing. So I was told that people can see what I have to say. And apparently, if you want to see my Twitter thing, you follow the Coach Gator, all one word.
Okay. Well,
and please, by all means, sorry to interrupt, but if Nick Aldis wants to declare next week when you talk to him that he is too scared of Mr. Frazier and he wants to meet on Friday, June 9th and relinquish the NWA world title to us, we will
have no problems with that at all.
We will accept it. We aren't happy about it. We want to earn it. But if he's too frightened of the Gator pit, he is more than welcome to take that 10 pounds of gold, lay it in the ring, and put it into our hot little hands.
Well, we'll have to see what his response to that is when we talk to him on Monday. So for me, Jamal, that is 2 Chains, that is Will. We'll see you Monday with Nick Aldis, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. But the question is, for how long as he faces Isaiah Frazier with Coach Gator at the Commonwealth Cup this coming Saturday night. Until Monday, this is the Bill Goldbelt Wrestling Podcast, and we'll see you then. See you.